I think football players are the most athletic. They can jump the highest. They can run the fastest. They're the strongest. They're the toughest.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that other sports, baseball or whatever sports, but I'm talking about if you talk about athlete for athlete, football, baseball, basketball, football. As far as vertical jump, because we vertical jump standing still.
Yep.
They get a step, they run and jump.
They get a run, even for the combine.
For the combine.
Yeah.
As far as flat out speed, ability, oh no.
Yeah, it's not even close. These dudes, like I said, the physical aspect is just one piece, but then when you get into the speed and you know they agile, but just being able to move on grass is different.
And plus y'all got like 4 plays in basketball. We got 150. We got to remember.
It's a whole different.
And a dude try to knock your block off.
And we gonna change the play. You might get 3 calls in the huddle too. These boys don't even be going to college for more than 5 minutes half the time in the NBA. So I don't know how much they gonna be able to retain like that.
Yeah, we got too much we got too much on our plate. Austin Rivers said he know 30 dudes in the NBA right now that can go play in NFL.
Yeah.
He said, but there ain't nobody in the NFL that could play in the NBA.
Yeah. Look, I ain't trying to go viral. Look, I'll say this. I understand what he's saying. These NBA dudes are extremely athletic. They be 6'8" and being able to move similar to what a football player will be doing out there. But we're not talking about going and doing a combine. We talking about the physicality that come with
to go play in an NFL game
and being callous enough to understand like if my dad run out there and just fall on the ground right now, he gonna be hurt.
Yes.
Let alone getting hit and then falling on the ground.
Correct.
Like I think, just think about somebody that you know that even when you were in the league, somebody that was your age. Think about them just getting hit. Let alone that's not even the fall part. Think about how many people you know that done fell and got hurt.
Yeah.
Let alone getting smacked and
dude fall on
up.
top of you. You fall on the ground hard. You fall, that hurt, and dude fall on top of you.
Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. All of that is going on. And that's what the whole game is.
Yes.
These dudes ain't getting out of one football game, let alone talk about being able to play in the NFL. There's zero shot.
Yeah.
I don't know who I would pick. You could look at some of the physical specimens. You got some Julio looking dudes in the NBA maybe. But
I'm saying if they had LeBron or Russell Westbrook or some of these other guys chosen.
100%.
Yes.
That's different.
But the Jets go and say, oh, here's the helmet, here's some shoulder pads, go play.
No, sir. No, I can't get behind that and say that. Now, it's a hard enough argument. And I'm not here to say more NFL could go to the NBA versus the other way around. Right. But if you ask me, I know a handful of guys that I know could have made that, and I'm saying even done this from the initial point.
Right.
Not like now, it's tough, man.
Sure.
First of all, you got to be big as hell, and all the big dudes is the big dudes in the NFL. So what you ain't gonna put Colton Miller, he's 6'8", but who he gonna go guard on the perimeter?
Nobody.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's easy, but I could have did it. But
how motivated were you? And I tell people this all the time. My only motivation was to get my family out of the environment that I grew up in. Because I didn't want my kids to spend one day in a life in which I had to live.
Right.
So let alone an hour, not even a day.
Right.
How motivated were you to get your family, knowing their upbringing, 9 people and sleeping on a couch in your grandmother's home? How motivated was Davante to leave that environment?
I mean, it was my driving force, man. And honestly, I'm glad that I had a wake-up call in high school that kind of got me on the right track as far as academics, because I wasn't really focused the way that I was supposed to, in early in high school, and that was going to lead to me having to take a whole alternate route to get where I needed, which, nothing wrong with the JUCO route, but you can get lost in the sauce, especially coming from where I come from. A lot of people end up in that and get lost in it. You ain't guaranteed nothing. You might have a quarterback that's okay, but we need somebody that can sling it to be able to.
We play a dependent position.
Correct, exactly. If I'm playing running back, that's on me. The O-line got to block and you got to be a good scheme and all that. But you get that pill in your hand, you got more to do with you got more to say about what you do than on the outside.
Right.
So for me, I just had to get a little bit more mature, throughout as it pertained to understanding the big picture, in high school and locked in. And once I got there and understood and conquered that academic aspect and got to a point where I realized that I was on my way, I feel I couldn't let nothing get in my way. I knew my whole life growing up, every time I played, you know, at any level of basketball or whatever, I was always one of the best ones, if not the best one. So it wasn't a talent. So for me, it was just about the right opportunity and making sure I checked the boxes of, you know, what I had to do, you know, academically, and I don't want to say check the boxes because that make it seem like I was just trying to get by, which with some of it maybe that was, but to a certain extent, I wanted to make sure I did what I had to do so that I could, you know, get there. Because school for me, like, I didn't want to be a doctor, so it was essentially a means to an end because you got.
I made you the eligibility.
Hey, there you go. And then once I got my head on my shoulders, I said this is something that I can use to. And for me, I never even really thought too much about I need to provide for my kids because I wasn't even on that wavelength, you know, that mental wavelength at that point.
But your immediate family that you saw going through everything that you was going through.
Exactly, which is why that same house that I lived in and grew up in and slept on that couch last year, so basically 12 months ago, I was able to team up with CBS and go and completely renovate her entire home in 2 weeks. So when and did that just to give back to her because it's not easy doing that. You know, obviously my parents did a great deal for me, and living with my mom and dad being separated, I would go and stay with my mom. Then when I stayed with my dad, that was the situation that I had. And that's the only situation I ever had. So I didn't really know anything different. But once I got to the outside and I seen, I felt like I really needed to pay that forward to my people. You
dealt with a lot of death growing up. Friend, drug sales, gang violence. I think you had a cousin that got murdered. How did those situations impact Tay?
Well, first, I thank my parents, man. I got great parents. I thank them for really helping me be, you know, exposed to it as far as knowing what's going on, but almost to learn from it and stay away from that type of stuff.
Okay.
I've never had any type of legal, you know, run-ins where, you know, I've made any bad decisions, and part of that was that healthy fear of my parents. Like they instilled it in me, and I knew the difference between, you know, right and wrong. So even though I may have been, you know, goofing off in the classroom freshman and sophomore year in high school or something like that, or, you know, not you know, giving my all into my academics, I was always a mature-minded person. You know, I always could make the right decision. Like my whole thing I still live by to this day is I never want to be able to say, I just made the worst mistake of my life. And it's a lot of dudes that I grew up with and that's still around.
Still paying for it.
That's still paying for it and still saying that almost day by day. Like, damn, I just made the worst decision, you know. So to have parents that had me in elementary school 45 minutes away from the hood, you know, getting on a school bus and having my day be a lot longer, but ultimately allowed me to be around a completely different crowd where I could focus on school and not have to worry about fighting in school and, you know, drugs being in the school and elementary like how it was where I grew up and, you know, people getting killed. Like I got friends that I played, you know, early childhood basketball with that I didn't even get to see, you know, graduate high school. And that's a crazy thought when you're an adult now. Like at that point, I'm thinking, you know, so many people, you grew up in the hood, you see kids 13, 14 getting killed because they get into it so early. So it's not that crazy to you at that point. Those are just your friends. But then once you start to be an adult and you think about, what if my kid, like at that, you know, I got a 5-year-old almost. I'm like, that's about 7 years from now. Like, you know, the thought of that is insane to think about that. So for me to recognize that, that's my driving force, you know, to continue to do what I do to, you know, make sure my kids see the light and don't ever have to see stuff like that.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because you know we like to do something before 2 something.